Hi, my name is Prem Asim Jain, and today we will set up a replica set on local box. So I'm using Mac OS. You can use anything Mac, Linux, or Windows, but the technique would be similar. So, what is a replica set? Replica set is essentially the copy of the same database to make it more available. And sharding is something which shares the data and divides them or distributes them across the data center. So our data center might have different shards inside it. So here is the example that if you have a single collection, let's say a student. So based on the student names, all the student name which starts with alphabet A to E will go in shard A, F to J will go in shard B, and so on. That will help us to read the data faster, because if there are billions of record, instead of loading one single server and fetching all the records, it slows down. So what we do is we keep sharding based on the sharding key. Database understands and keeps the data based on whatever the limit or the way you configure. If you don't do any configuration, it will random do the sharding based on the data or based on the round robin. First keys it will put it here, and then there is something which is called as Mongo S, which will take care of which will index basically what key will go to which shard and all information like that. So we'll try and run them to do hands-on, and we'll try it on local on the Mac. And replica set is nothing but whatever, excuse me. So shard A, so there is a concept called as availability in Mongo, which means if you write to one node or one server, if it dies down, then you might lose the data. So what Mongo do is it creates a duplicate copy or a replicate copy. Duplicate means exactly same second copy, and replicate means it could be more than two. It could be 3, 4, 5, 7, essentially in odd numbers. So that those many copies of, so A will have replication factor of 3 or 5 or whatever you want. So if primary goes down, the secondary, any of the secondary will get elected, and that would start serving. So you will get virtually 100% availability on all the shards, and that's what you know, we are going to establish here, a 100% available data set. So you can go to the blog on this video. You will find the link from my blog which speaks about this script, and this script you just need to follow, and it would explain step by step what is to be done. So first thing when you start is you have to make sure that all your MongoDB processes from your box should get killed. So we will do kill MongoDB, and then we will also kill all Mongo S. We have to put these commands over here. So no matching processes belonging for this. So kill all MongoDB. Kill all MongoDB. PS hyphen EAF grep MongoDB. So this can tell us where Mongo is running basically. So we can also do kill -9. So the all Mongo process, so now right now seems like there is no Mongo process which is working. There is something which is called as this is the same graph which is trying to figure out some Mongo. So let's double check it before moving ahead. So there is nothing in Mongo. We have killed everything. So step 1 is to kill everything and verify it. Now we'll say rm minus rf data.configs and data.shards. So whatever would be the shard information in the data. In my machine on the root there is a data folder. So I have to remove all the configuration and all the files. So there you might feel some permission denied. So it's simple. You can just do a sudo which will provide you the super user privileges. So now seems like everything has been cleaned up here, all the configs, and then you can also remove all the shards whichever were sitting there so far. Again you will find some permission issue, so do a sudo. You can repeat this command. So there are no matches found. Previously there were matches which has got removed. So we will just try to go cd./data and then we'll see that there are no such folders. Now start a replica set and tell it to run it on, it will be shard 0. To run it on shard 0, first we will try to make 3 folders. So if you are on Windows, make it MD. If you are on Linux or somewhere else, mkdir is fine. Now again the permission thing, we'll do a sudo here. So this command has created or has given us 3 different probably 3 different folders inside shard 0. So shard 0 will have a folder for rs1 which would be the replica set 0, replica set 1 and replica set 2. That would go inside shard 0. So now we have to start the MongoDb process. So what we are going to do is if we will see here, so we are, instead of just doing a MongoDb, it will run in the default folder which is /data/db, default port 27017 and default log path. Here we are giving all the information explicitly. So MongoDb, and then we are giving the replica set. We are giving the log path which would be s0 log file, whatever it would go inside it. And reason is this will help us to understand what is going on by reading logs. Then this would be our data path wherever we want to the data to be stored, because whatever data you insert the JSON format, ultimately it converts in binary and it sits in some database folder, and that folder is configured with this db path. Then we are giving it a port number, and -- fork will allow to go to the next line. So first we will fire this command. So about to fork child, waiting until server is ready for connection. Fork process, exit child process field or exit it with number 0. What it really means is, so we what we were trying to do is we were trying to run something on 37017 Mongo. So if it might have worked over here, it should have connected over there. So we will try to do a sudo. So this time the child process started successfully. The reason is since I am on Mac and there is permission issues, admin role or whatever for Windows guys. So it didn't allow to run anything on those folders. But now with the privileges, it was able to run it in this port and especially in this data. So our whatever data now will generate will go inside the shard0 rs0 folder. Now let's try to see if this gets connected, and cool, so we are able to get it connected. Now this is running individually, so please understand, there could be different people, but when we put them in one team they act differently. So we are right now we are trying to make different servers which are individual, they have their own identity. So we will say use db show collections. Okay, so it is saying not master and slave okay false. So this is giving us some errors basically, because it is not configured properly as Mongo. That is why we just need to make these individual servers connected together and then talk to each other. So before we move way too ahead, let us try to spun another server. So this another server is totally same. Only difference is it will have different data folder and different port. So let's try to do that in this process itself. But remember to do a sudo here. So once we do this, this also again gets started and we can validate over here. So we will do mongo hyphen port. So imagine this is a separate box, a 37018. 37018. So this has now been connected. So if we do db, we are on test. If we so db dot collection dot insert anything like this, it will not allow you, right? Because things can be written only in master. Since we have configured it as part of replica set, we have to let it know who is the leader. So we will identify the leader, but first thing first, let's try to spun the servers in odd number. We could have always done it in 2, but it's a best practice to do it in odd numbers. So whenever the voting or election happens, there is a clear winner inside that. The majority can go one side. In even number, if it gets divided equally, then it becomes a problem. So let's do a sudo and run this. So this will help us to spun another server on 37019. So let's try to make this up. So right now what is the scenario? We have 3 different Mongo instances working which have 3 different directories, but they are in replica set, but they are not configured properly, so they are useless right now. So to make them useful, we have to configure the replica set configuration. So how we are going to do it over here is there is something which is called as config file. So on 37017 first server, we will set up the configuration and then we will initiate it. So this one is the configuration. So config has been set. Just to revalidate, I'll just let you know. So we have ID. So this is our name of the replica set, which we might have called as S0, which has 3 members on different ports 0, 1, 2. Now the I0 here is the same detail, whatever we have inserted, that I0 has these different members. Now we have to start this. So once we will start it, we will say rs dot rs is short form for replica set, and then we will say, then we will say initiate. Now we will pass the config object, whatever is the config object over here. So we will do config. Once we do config, we find it over here. S0 is the name of the replica set. Now it would show up, and then you will find this one is the secondary, this one is the secondary, and this one is the primary. So that is how you can find in your replica set which is primary, which is secondary once it's configured. Now let us try to insert the same data. Previously we were trying to insert some data, but we were giving error. It was saying that no master, right? Now what happens is by the very definition, you can write only in the master and you can read from anywhere. That is fine. Again, that is sometimes restricted, but by default only writing can be happen on a master. So let's see which database it is. It's a test database. So we can use it. Anything is fine for our example. So we will take a test database, and inside that we will have the student collection. So we'll say db.students.insert, and we will insert a data with name, and name we can insert my name as Prem Asim. Now before doing that, I want to show you this magic, but before this magic happens, let's try to show collections. So it is asking that we have to make it, there is some configuration by which we can allow the reading on this. So it whatever we input in the master, that will automatically come here in the slave. So there is something which is called as slave OK. We can get that from here. Okay, rs.slave OK. Let's try to do that. Now we'll do our same command. So we don't see any collection, and please remember this is different thing and this is different. Also I'll try to do the same thing here. db show collections, or just do db show collections. So we have to tell it that read should be allowed. So we don't find any collection in these two. Now we'll do the magic that we are putting something here and we are retrieving something from here. So now you see the student collection. Even though you have not inserted, this is entire different instance. This is running on entirely different port, and this is again running on entirely different port. But now you can see, and even you can do the query db.students.find, and you see my name Prem Asim here. So and even the object ID, it is 170. It finishes with 170. It finishes with 170. So this is exactly duplicated or replicated across the cluster. Cluster is nothing but a group of different nodes. So each node will have the same data, whatever we have given here so far. So we were able to successfully create a replication set in this video. In next video, we will go ahead and create a same set of data, so that we will have multiple sharding. So what we let's go to the example over here as I suggested. So we are trying to do sharding, and then we are having different sharded environment which are replicated. So that is what we are trying to do. So in this video, just to give a small recap, we were able to create a Mongo cluster, and Mongo cluster with replica set, and replica set which had primary and secondary relationship. We had one primary which was up, and there were, this one is the primary, and then we had two secondaries, and everything was done on the local same box with different processes and different folders. We in actual real life example or real life scenario, we will have different nodes or different servers which would be running these instances. So I hope this might have helped you. You can watch the following video wherein we'll create more sets with the sharding. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to visit premasim.com and check out the blog to get the command for setting up the replica set on your local. Thank you.